Let's talk about the Hank Green situation. And I'm doing this because he's a creator that I respect, and I want to give my honest opinion on what's going on here. And this time, I'm not going to be distracted by chat or League of Legends. I'm going to successfully do it this time. I've got it. I'm gonna manage it, I promise. But Hank Green is pausing a lot of his content creation because he got outed for overusing AI. Now, I'm going to preempt this with my usual: AI is a tool. The people who produce it are the bad ones. Burn down a local data center near you, and that is a form of self-care. There we go. I've given my preempt. There, you know my big opinions on AI. Corporations and capitalism is evil, and therefore the things that they produce tend to be evil or infused with evil. I think that data centers have a lot of RAM, and your computer needs a lot of RAM. So, you do the math. They're not guarded very well. And also, at the same time, it's a tool that I wish we could use without all of the fucking baggage attached to it. There we are. Anyway, Hank Green, one of YouTube's most prominent science educators, announced he is pausing his main channel and scaling back... Hold on. And scaling back content production after fans criticize him for relying on AI tools without disclosing it. Yeah, full disclosure. About once every 16 or 22 videos, if I am looking up information, I might also go on to like ZAI and type in the thing that I'm searching for and see if it finds anything that I didn't already find in my research. But again, I don't think anybody is surprised by that. It's a glorified search engine. And half the time it doesn't give me anything new that I didn't already know, because I tend to research things first and then use it as a back check if I'm using it at all. Anyway, Green apologized in a lengthy Reddit comment, calling his use of large language models not healthy for me or good for the world. That's an interesting way to phrase it. Okay. Green runs a sprawling network of educational channels. He hosts SciShow, a collection of YouTube channels focused on scientific disciplines, and Crash Course, which breaks down topics from Latin American literature to statistics. He created the Vlogbrothers channel with his brother and novelist John Green. For longtime viewers, the channel represents a particular kind of internet trust: earnest, human, and carefully researched. That trust is now at the center of a controversy. Okay? The trouble started with a clip from a recent episode of Ask Hank Anything, uploaded on July 29th to the YouTube channel Complexly, a science education channel he created in 2017. In the episode, TikTok Soupy Time appeared and asked Green questions, which he answered in his typical style. But one moment, recorded separately, caught fire online. In it, Green said, "I appreciate the pushback," while discussing a disagreement from earlier in the episode. Some viewers claimed this phrasing sounded like something generated by ChatGPT. So that's kind of weird. So, I've never AI generated a script for use. Ever. I think the one time I've AI generated a script, we did on air because I wanted to AI generate the script for that Resident Evil review video to see if the review video I was looking at was also AI generated. But I think I've also used the phrase, "I appreciate the pushback." Like, I think I've used that phrase a lot, and I don't think that that's a uniquely AI phrase. What a lot of people probably don't get is that the reason that AI has phrases that it leans on at all is because it scraped those phrases from people first. And then in scraping those phrases, anything that got higher ratings during the training process are the things that the AI is going to favor. It is going to lean into those things more. So it's the overuse of a phrase like that that is the trigger to figure out if something's AI, not did it exist or did it not. So that one feels weird. That feels kind of weird. As the clip spread, Green posted a tweet denying that the line was written by AI or scripted at all. He said it was an ad lib added during filming. Yeah, I think outside of Sideshow, most of the things he does are not really scripted, right? Like, I mostly watch his blog channel more than anything. But he also acknowledges that he had been using ChatGPT for research and that his scripts had started to sound a little too much like AI input. Jessa says, "AI scripts aren't bad, they're good, and you deserve a cookie for using it." God damn it. Said, "I think it's fair to say I was relying too much on generated notes. That's a thing I've been doing. It's a bad habit at a time where I've overcommitted myself." So with all the channels he runs, I can definitely see why he's overcommitted. It makes sense. 110%. 110%. He deleted the tweet shortly afterwards. He then publicly shared a link to a Reddit post that included an image of the original tweet and offered a long reply in the comments. Okay, so let me see if I can find the Hank Green Reddit reply AI. I want to see the actual thing he said specifically. Or is this just going to be... No, that's just Reddit talking about it. I don't need Reddit talking about it. I don't care what Reddit thinks about it. I care what my opinion of it is, and then Reddit can tell me I'm wrong. That's how this works. Nope. Okay, here we go. Found it. 3 things to start. I'm mortified that I've let so many people down, and I understand how that happened. I'm going to change things about how I make stuff. Complexly's AI policy is public and well considered and adhered to by the whole team. I think it's worth reading. Complexly is the nonprofit that makes Crash Course and SciShow and a bunch of other shows that I do not write for. The thing that everything we do is based on, okay, there we go, is that you know that what I'm saying are my thoughts coming from my brain in the way I decide. I've made that harder, and I am sorry. I've been relying too heavily on AI as a research aid. It can be very useful for this task, giving me access to a lot of papers I didn't know existed really fast, but I think that's been at the detriment of my own work because it's not given me the freedom to find all my own ways into and around a topic. But for clarity, the origin of the claims in my videos are not ChatGPT said this. I've been using AI to locate papers and other sources for learning about topics. You are still getting my takes based on what I read, know, and learn. So, fun fact, this is actually in line with what is considered, at least based on the studies we've done, what is considered a responsible use of the technology. Using it as a learning tool as opposed to using it as the thing that accomplishes the task. The way that the human brain engages with it over and above how it engages with a search engine, it tends to make you retain that information a little better. Now, granted, this could be a thing where it's like the soda companies doing studies and the oil companies doing studies into whether their own practices are actually harmful, where the information is coming from biased sources because the information is being funded from biased sources. That could be the case, and we might figure that out here in about 10 or 15 years. But as of right now, the research that I've done seems to lean that way, and we've done a video on this before. For clarity, the origin of the claim, we already went over that. I think what people have said in this thread about me deluding myself is spot on. Ultimately, what I am most scared of is ruining myself for other people. But I've not been managing my impulses well. You need to know that my words are mine. I don't think this hasn't been true, but I've been moving so fast that my own process isn't actually clear to me, and I want to have it be a guarantee moving forward. Yeah, that's okay. I can see that as a huge fucking problem. Not just from a trust perspective. So, like, for instance, my workflow process is when Monday begins, I've usually already planned a Magic the Gathering video to shoot. If I haven't, I will go to Reddit and find a topic that I find interesting and then use that as a springboard. And then I'll shoot that video. That video is always shot unscripted, and I go over everything every angle I can think of in that video, and then I take it into the editor and I scrape out what I think is not necessary, and then produce that as a video. I make the thumbnail in the same go, and it usually takes me about 2 or 3 hours to complete that task. Then I take an hour to an hour and a half to prepare the topics that I'm going to talk about on stream. That is an amount of time that I am probably also using to try to eat lunch or down a beverage or something on top of that. Then when I start stream, I've got 2 to 3 hours to get all of my topics done on stream. And then I'll try to weave in some video game stuff in there as well so that it's not all doom and gloom. That's the most public part of everything that I do because you guys see that. And then after that, if it's Monday, we try to shoot a video for Third Space Arcade, which we've been failing at lately, but we have one for today about Spider-Man Brand New Day, so we'll be talking about that soon. If it's Wednesday, I'm likely hopping on with Vice Rhino afterwards, and if it's Tuesday or Thursday, I'm likely heading out to go play Riftbound for my upcoming Riftbound channel that I'm going to be making here in a few days. I've actually been shooting footage to make stuff for that channel, and I think I'm going to be scrapping all of it because of some of the practice that I've been taking with the game. Pan says, how is Riftbound? Riftbound is a wonderful game that makes me feel like a competitive Magic the Gathering player all over again, so please go play it. It's cheap, it's fun, and the company behind it is doing really well by the players. And then if it's Friday, I am playing catch-up. On Friday, I am making a video for the Magic the Gathering channel, and then I am looking at what videos we have to produce over the weekend that are being handed off to KFox, the editor. And if we have enough videos, then I will likely use the rest of Friday to clean the house and spend time with my friends. If we are behind, typically Friday gets used as a catch-up day. If you see me stream on Friday, it's because I'm playing catch-up. And then the weekend is mine. Like, that's my workflow. That is my workflow for every single day of the week in a nutshell. I know what my workflow looks like, and I know how to do my workflow. If you start muddying things up enough where you don't actually know what your own workflow looks like anymore, then yeah, I can see that as being a huge fucking problem. So what I can't guarantee, though, is that we will agree about this technology or what to do with it. I think that's good. We need a lot of kinds of folks critiquing this technology. I'm not a pure AI hater, which people in the AI industry know, so when I say that the way these models were trained deeply disturbs me, that lands differently. Yeah, I will say that, like, if you give a criticism to AI from the perspective of somebody who generally likes the tech, that lands as infinitely more authentic to me than just somebody who blanketly hates it, because if somebody blanketly hates it, they're going to find whatever reason under the sun, whether it's correct or not, to despise the technology. And there's nothing wrong with that. The people behind the technology are fucking evil. So by all means, go ahead. Again, burn down a local data center near you. But I tend to take the criticisms of people who are pro-AI, or at least more neutral towards it, a little more seriously, because their perspective is going to be one where they are not just going, aha, the thing exists, therefore it's bad. When they find something that's bad, it's juxtaposed to the things they found in it that are good. Likewise, I tend to not listen to people who are very, very pro-AI when it comes to positive things about AI. If I want positive things about AI, I'll look for them in the people who hate it. Because then I'm going to find the more honest things there. Because the people who are super positive about AI are either the corporate shills or the ones who are going to be screaming from the rooftops about how it gave them a love letter that they could send to their crush, and now they are finally in a relationship, and it's going to last 3 weeks because they're using ChatGPT to talk to one another. I don't care about that person's opinion when they tell me something pro-AI. I care about that person's opinion when they tell me something that is against AI. When I say that I think that the speed at which these companies are trying to consolidate economic power should freak out everyone in the world, that's coming from somebody who has, quote, nuanced takes. When I say I worry about the climate impacts of this rollout, that's not me saying I don't think this tech should ever exist. It's me saying, for God's sakes, please don't make our biggest problem worse. It is very likely that you, the reader, and I disagree on how or even whether AI should be used. I think it makes sense for that disagreement to exist. But I have also always believed that my audience is more likely to be right than I am. You know what this feels like in a way that I can't, and I'm sorry for deluding myself in a way and harming the thing that we have all built together. So Hank's actually been kind of public about this. He has gone on record a handful of times to say that his perspective on things tends to be skewed by the fact that he has money. Like, he has enough money to not feel a ton of the economic strain that a lot of us feel on a day-to-day. And because he's got that insulation, it makes it infinitely harder for him to have the perspective that comes from determining whether or not your next meal is something that you can afford to do when you have the option to keep the power on instead. That's not a decision he tends to have to make. So he has been public about that. So that's at least consistent. As for the why don't you just make less, no one's making you do this, I'm not sure that's how I work. I've been feeling the pressure of, oh, I have this little video idea, I need to get it out real fast so I can get to the more important stuff, and I create when I feel that pressure. Hey, it's just like me, for real. But making more things does not make me better things. Does not make me make better things. It does not make the big thing that we've been doing for 20 years better. I know that I can manage myself more effectively. I want to make videos like the one I made yesterday on Hank's channel, where the writing was the whole thing and I felt it all the way down, and I've been so enriched by people's responses to it. And sure, I'm probably going to make dumb, unscripted, straight to the camera thoughts videos sometimes, and then I'll play connections. But mostly, I need to come to terms with the fact that the level of dopamine I've been getting from interacting with LLM... Oh, that's a bad one. Okay, so AI cannot make you become chemically dependent. It can't. That's not what it does. But any action that rewards enough dopamine is something that your brain can get very, very, very addicted to. And I've pointed this out too. where I suffered from this problem for a while, where I literally could not stop myself from logging into Janitor and going into my own version of my own world. Now, the two things that helped me break from that helped a ton, were one, Janitor started implementing a pay for process, and I refuse to pay any money for anything AI because I don't think any of them deserve any of our money at all. But the other thing that helped, because when they did that, they made the regular Janitor AI experience worse. And having the worse experience, the less immersive experience, helps a ton in breaking your habits of a thing. The other thing that helped a lot was that when I went from Janitor AI, I went over to ZAI, but ZAI deliberately cuts people off from the model when their servers are overloaded. It's probably one of the things that they have to do because of the climate regulations that they're under in China. I don't know the specifics there, but I do know that as a result of that, it's much harder to begin the dopamine feedback loop when you are constantly having to hit refresh on a page over and over and over again in an attempt to get it to pull anything up at all. Like, those things actively helped me not have anywhere near the level of addiction that I was dealing with before, after I started using that tech to make my videos on that tech in the first place. Asina, thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate it. So that technology getting worse at engaging with that feedback loop actively helped me a lot. And it feels weird to say I am thankful that a technology was made worse for me to experience, but that did help. Said it's like a bittering agent in various medications. Yeah, you make them worse to ingest so that the addictive qualities of the thing disappears, or at least is not as strong. Let's see here. The level of dopamine he's been getting from interacting with LLMs, with doing more and more and more and more and more, is not healthy for me or good for the world. It is careless. It has disconnected me from where people are on this. I was talking about this with Catherine last night, and she did not pull any punches. Frankly, neither did John. Neither of them thinks that I've been being healthy, and I need to adjust. Yeah, no, if you started to stretch yourself too thin, and you're relying on an addictive technology to get you through that, you're doing no better than the person who has psychological damage and they're relying on alcohol to get through it. Like, you are creating a negative feedback loop. Expect less Hank's channel. It may need to pause for a while. It may be that Hank's channel comes back with writing and research support. It may be, there it is. So he didn't even have a research team for Hank's channel. Because, again, that was closer to a blog channel than anything else. It may be that Hank's channel comes back with writing and research support. It may be that it comes back with just way fewer videos. I'm going to spend this time finishing a video I've been working on for ages and I think really matters. 2, Smush and 4x3 are getting paused as well. If there are bugs, there are bugs. I have a backlog of 4x3 boards right now, and frankly, writing them is usually a solace for me, but if we run out, I'm not going to worry about that. So if it just reverts to a static board one day, that'll be that. Tal says, is that why Switch games have a bittering agent? Yep. I do deeply want to support good store and complexly in whatever way I can, so there may be some stuff out on that front, but the reliance on me has always been risky, so we need to build for that as well. I'm very sorry for harming the thing this is all based on. Okay. I think that's a reasonable response. I think that is a reasonable response in general. Looking at some of the responses here, I think that's reminds me of my own struggles with AI, or being told to use it at work to the point where it feels like I'm just being change resistant or an old fuddy-duddy if I don't use it, or I'm purposely choosing not to be more efficient. But if I do use it, I feel like I'm cheating and like everybody else is going to the point of the results to call me out. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. It's been a very challenging topic for me. I was 100% anti-AI, but then my work all forced us to use it extensively, and gradually I started using it more and more. I enjoyed my work less. Man, that's so fucking insidious. So we know that this is an addictive technology. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, this is known information. So forcing people to use it against their will, because if the ultimatum is you get to feed your family or you don't, that is against their will. Period. You don't actually have a choice there. Ultimatums are not choices. When you force people to engage with the technology more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and force them to become reliant on the technology more and more and more, it feeds like forcing drugs on. It feels like forcing drugs on the population, and then just being like, yes, we have created a new opioid crisis. 10 out of 10. Started using it in my personal life, effectively replacing a search engine. I want recommendations for things to visit on my holiday. I want to know how this mechanic in a game works. I want a recipe that uses whatever leftovers I made to the chatbot we go. It's addictive, and it's what Hank wrote about. Dopamine hits home really hard. It's a search engine, but you can specify your context and ask follow-ups. For some reason, that's really just enticing to my brain. Yeah, it's because we're a social species. We're a social species, and as a result, we like conversation. So this helps for that. And when I say helps, I mean it's like how having an AI girlfriend helps with loneliness. It helps insofar as your brain has a Band-Aid on it, but the Band-Aid has cyanide mixed in with the adhesive. For some reason, that's really just enticing to my brain. Sure, it's not always right and can just make stuff up completely, but Googling the same thing will just lead you to a Reddit comment that might also have been a complete lie. At least that's what I tell myself when I catch AI in yet another lie. Yeah, so I think the proper workflow if you're going to use one of these things as a search engine is you have search engine that is not tainted by AI on one monitor, and then you have the AI on another monitor, and then you are doing keyword searches on monitor 1, and you are doing context searches on monitor 2. Context searches in the AI give you one set of results. Keyword searches on the search engine gives you another set of results. Look at the results you get from the two and start comparing and contrasting, but never, ever, 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 ever rely on monitor 2. Use it as a supplement, nothing more. While for work, it helped with productivity in some sense. For personal stuff, I find myself asking follow-ups for oh, Jesus Christ, that's depressing. That's depressing. I get fewer things done and with less quality, all because just one more question is so easy. I check almost everything with it, thinking I can ensure that I didn't miss anything, and I feel like I've lost some of my own confidence and my own thought process. This is like when Fennec says, don't outsource your brain. Like, this is like textbook. You've outsourced your brain. If you are no longer confident in your own thought processes because you're so used to asking the robot about your thought processes, that is a problem. Like, that is 12 problems wrapped together in Christmas wrapping. Again, laced with cyanide. How's it going, Arachne? How you doing? Fennec says, I heard my name. Yeah, I was saying that, like, this comment right here, this is textbook offloading your brain thoughts to the AI. Like, that's what this is, 110%. Outsourcing your thinking. Let's see here. I think the biggest thing we should be taking away from this is, of course, John was right. Let's see here. Anything else here? This is why I've admired and followed him as a content creator since his very first videos I was in high school. I'm glad he responded thoughtfully and took the critique while still stating his own thoughts and reasonings. Yep. Like, here's the thing. You can do the ukulele response where you just take the crucifixion, or you can say, like, no, I'm going to stand my ground, but I'm going to point out that I'm not perfect in anything I say, and y'all may actually be the ones correct here. Like, I think that shows a level of integrity in his own response. Again, I hope that Hank's channel comes back. I want to see that happen. And I want it to come back in a way that is healthy and happy. What I'm not happy about... Let me see if I can find the video, because I saw, like, a drama video. Yeah, no. I don't know who the fuck Casey Simpson is. I don't. But this title right here pisses me the fuck off. I don't know who you are, but a YouTuber was caught using AI. Then he was forced to quit YouTube. But he's not quitting YouTube. Like, he even actively pointed out he is still going to be working and contributing on the other YouTube channels. Like, I recognize that this is just the title. It's a clickbait title, but it's quite literally a lie of a clickbait title. Because that's not what happened. That's not what's happening. Sean says, I really hope Hank just hires a lot of writers and then he'll get the time and brace he needs to get away from the AI. I hope so, too. So Casey Simpson is normally really good. Yeah, this is a situation where you've got a YouTuber who is so large, well-respected, and well-known that anybody is going to be jumping on this. Like, I saw Vosh put out a video on this. I watched 1 minute of it and then said, nope, I want to talk about this. I'm not listening to any more Vosh. I want my own opinion on this, not his opinion. I didn't watch this video when I saw it. Again, I want my own opinion, not their opinion. I may start watching some of the Hank Green drama stuff to see, like, what people are saying, but, like, because this is a content creator that I appreciate so much, just this all feels kind of grody to me. Yeah, no, Hank Green pauses using AI. That's at least a little more accurate to what's happened. That's a little more accurate. Hank Green is in trouble. Hank Green got caught. God, fucking everybody's jumping on this. And I guess I'm also guilty because I'm making a video on this too. I'm talking about this as well. So, yeah, no, it's... okay. Well, for one, everybody's going to talk about this for a week and then it's going to disappear. For two, I hope that when he comes back, he has better and healthier practices for both his audience and himself. Personally. I'm surprised Moist Critical hasn't covered it yet. Give it a day. Charlie will get here. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.